brand new OYE starts right now. With Mauricio, EFREN, and Chuy. Plus, legendary comedian, actor, and humanitarian Jorge Lopez will be paying us a visit and dropping some serious election knowledge. And we've got food on our mind with Jorge Sanchez of Chacho's in San Jose, California, talking tacos and more. Also, what is happening in your community? Are you ready to vote? How are you coping with the quarantine and pandemic? Here come Hot Topics and more with Mauricio Mejia, EFREN Cifuentes, and Chuy Gomez with OYE.
That's it. Hola.
Here we go. Where's what happened to EFREN? There we go. What's up, man? How are you? And wow, we made it show number 3, and it's going to only get bigger and better and badder, man. And I'm very excited today on who we have. But before that, I want to do a quick reminder, everyone. We do this on Monday. OYE is on LATINLIVE, 6 p.m. on the West Coast and 9 p.m. on the East, and on the Central, I think it's 8 o'clock. So, and around the world, we have different times. In Mexico right now, it's 8 o'clock. So we want to welcome all our visitors and all of our people that are watching from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us. LATINLIVE with over 5 million active users around the world, over 300,000 followers and on social media, and over 7,000 influencers around the world. Again, LATINLIVE, OYE, what an amazing time. Chuy, what's going down, man? Thank you, all of us being here together, man. Another day.
It's a beautiful thing, man. This crazy weather out here in California was crazy over the weekend. We had extraordinary heat, but we also had thunderstorms. I felt like I was in Miami or Cancun or something, bro. It was humid, it was rainy. We had lightning, thunder. It was awesome, beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was pretty amazing. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is some weird weather," but in reality, this has happened. Like it happened about 20 years ago. I remember I was living here in San Jose already. I had just moved up from LA, and I remember that we had these electrical storms, and everyone started acting. Well, the newer generation, they're freaking out because they haven't seen any of this stuff, so they started tripping. I'm like, no, calm down, people. It's the world, acting right now. So no need to panic, but. Anyway, hey, I'm just waiting for EFREN to jump back on. I guess he fell off on the system here, but we're going to carry the show on. Third show, Chuy. I mean, it's amazing the amount of response that we're getting from all the people around the world and just even here locally in our backyard.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got a few followers from Brazil, which is crazy. A few people will hit me from Brazil and some folks from Minnesota. I'm like, Minnesota? Where's Minnesota? Okay, Minnesota. I found it on the map. Hey, Minnesota. So anyway, it's kind of like a little overwhelming at this point, though, but it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's we had a viewer that just hit us from London, hit us up. He's actually from here, from the Bay Area, but he's watching us over in London. And I didn't even bother looking, but it must be late over there out there. So anyhow, I'm just waiting for EFREN to get back in here so we can get into our hot topics and see what's up. Let's see. Yeah, he's still not on, man. I guess, hey, the show must go on then, right?
Let's keep it moving, bro. Let's keep it moving. Let's get to it, brother.
All right. Well, there we go. EFREN is back. There we go. EFREN, what is happening here, my brother?
We're having some little rolling blackout situation, which froze my computer, so I apologize. It's this NorCal heat. Mucho calor.
It's all of California, man. I know we're feeling it from SoCal to up here, man. So we were just about to jump into the hot topics. Again, we want to welcome everyone that's joining us. Please leave comments. Please let us know where you're watching us from. We have a lot of great people that have already, our feeds are already going through the roof over here.
Yeah, great
so it's going to be hard to keep up. We have an amazing human being that's with us today. And again, thank you, Chuy, for making it happen, and the whole team. Again, it's a collaborative effort. And it just feels good to see a bunch of Latinos come together as one and really push forward. And not only that, but to be here in the heart of the Silicon Valley in downtown San Jose, just to be in a global destination in the hub of the world of technology. It's amazing to see now what we're doing with our technology and where we're going. So we want to jump right into our hot topics. EFREN, are you ready for?
I am ready.
Are you ready for?
The lighting is back.
Yeah. Are you ready for? Here we go. Boom, I always love that bite, man. I love our production. I just love it, man.
This is actually good. This is happening because some folks have texted me, "Are you really live?" I'm like, "Yes, we are." So,
Evidence, no, it's really live. And if I fall off, guys, it's not. I mean, you'll see these little glitches. We're in a high rise, and we get these little like power surges. So if I fall off, don't worry, I'm coming back on. So I got it.
Good. We're going to kick things off with a memoriam. Two musical greats passed over the last few days. First one is Arcelio Garcia. He was one of the founders of Malo, Suavecito Baby, 1972, Chévere, Nena, Café. A lot of great songs. He passed of natural causes according to his family on Facebook. So sending some loving vibes to his family. Just an OG, and that band still, the legacy continues to this day. Way back to from their early albums, and just a fantastic vocalist and musician. Of course, we lost Jorge Santana, who's also in Malo. That's Carlos's brother. He passed back in May. So rest in power, Arcelio Garcia. And also Trini Lopez. That name sounds familiar. He's old school, old cat, old G. He mixed American folk, Latin, and rockabilly styles back in the day. He had a nice version of La Bamba back in 1966. Big hits included If I Had a Hammer, and his version of Cuando Calienta el Sol, which people know the Luis Miguel version, but his version is pretty dope too. And he was one of the first Latinos to have a variety show on a major network. That was on NBC back in 1963, born in Texas. And he sadly passed age 83 due to COVID-19. So rest in peace, Trini Lopez. That album was the bomb too, Live at PJ's. Good album.
Yeah.
So
stay safe, folks. I mean, this COVID thing is real, man. So please be safe out there and take care of your loved ones.
That's right. I think with this all said, I think we should all take, everyone that's out there watching in honor of these two human beings, great human beings. I think we should give them a moment of silence.
That's right. Innovators.
Love, man.
There you go. All right, man. Good. Thank you.
Let's move on to our next hot topic. And two Latinas, trailblazers. In the past, they got their props in USA Today's issue that came out last week. It's the 100 Women of the Century. We're talking Celia Cruz Azúcar. She got her props for being, of course, a salsera in a male-dominated field. We all love some salsa, and Celia did her thing. 5 Grammys, 2 Latin Grammys, doctorates from Yale and the University of Miami. Great photo right there. And of course, winner of the National Medal of Arts in 1994. So trailblazer, échale candela, the late Celia Cruz.
Yes, part of Fania All-Stars too. Gotta love that.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And other trailblazer that got that award from USA Today, 100 Women of the Century, was Gloria Estefan, who we mentioned last week, who has a new album out, but she, for contributions to the arts. And she was actually the first Latina to host a halftime show way back when. A lot of people don't really remember that, but yeah, she was the first Latina to host the halftime show. So props to Gloria and Celia, winners of the 100 Women of the Century, thanks to USA Today. And yeah, props. I love me some Gloria. The new album is pretty cool too.
I love me, Gloria. She's off the hook, man. I love her.
The new album's called Brazil 305. By the way, we dabbed on that last week.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like this next topic that's coming up. I sent you the story about this, and interestingly enough, I sent the same story to Stedman Graham, which is Oprah's hubby. And 2 days later, he called me and he said, Mauricio, what are your thoughts on this? And then I was like, well, Stedman, I said, my thoughts on this is that, I, as a young kid growing up in Los Angeles in Highland Park, I was always Hispanic, right? And then when I came to the Bay Area and I met some of my Latinos up here at Berkeley, they're like, no, you're Latino. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? Hispanic, Latino? They're like, well, there is no Hispania, there is no Latin. They started giving me the lecture, right? So I'm like, well, I'm Salvadorian, so, all right, well, I'm Salvadoreño, but Salvatrucha, right? So then I'm like, so the confusion started, but from that point on, though, I only associated, or I don't want to say I associated with the term Latino, and then there was a Latino, Latina, and then comes this term. So when Stedman called me, he's like, what do you connect with? I said, well, I've always been Latino. And he says, Mauricio, his problem with this is like black. he says, I'm not black, I'm African American. And he started going deep on it. He says, there is no country of black. There's Africa. There's, he started going really like hard on it. I was like, oh, you got active on this. I really like the fact that you're reading some of the articles I'm sending. So was very excited to see that, it stirred up conversation. And we can keep going on, but go for it. Let's dive right deep into this one.
Well, Mauricio was a study by the Pew Research Group, which do fantastic research studies. Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx. The term Latinx hasn't really caught on with adults. Only 3% of adults use it, and the demographic of mostly Latina women, ages 18 to 29. 76% of Latinos have not heard of the term, and 20% don't use it. So Latinx, Latino, Latina, we're all familia.
You see here, Hispanic, Latinx, Latino. You know what? We're all one family here, man. It
seems like kind of a hipster Latino term to me. I don't know. Yeah. I just associate with a young Mexican kid from the Bay Area. That's it, okay?
Well, that's right. I thought of it of being here in the tech capital. I started hearing Latinx. I'm like, oh, somebody got foo-foo about it, and now they want to be Latinx. The whole part of Silicon Valley. But no, apparently it's something that's picking up some steam.
We dug a little deeper. Actually, the term is over 20 years old because they it started with people that were in Chicano studies in high school. That a lot of the females didn't like the term Chicanos. They wanted more all-inclusive term, and Latinx is an all-inclusive term, non-gender conforming term. So that's why a lot of people, a certain percentage, like it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can see that. So, all right, well, hey, it is to however you want to identify. Let's just keep it positive. Let's keep it moving forward, and let's not also let these labels kind of diminish who we are as people. At the end of the day, we're at the end of the day, we all bleed the same color of blood, and we all, we're all one. So all this color line and all this bullshit that's been going on and being built is creating all this tension and division amongst us all. We just need to learn to love one another and to be human with each other so that we can continue to prosper and move forward. I want
to see what George Lopez has to say a little bit later. So let's move on. Then we'll ask George Lopez what he thinks about Latinx.
Okay? Hey, that's a good. You know what? I'm going to ask him that question because I want to know his thoughts on that one.
So
go.
All right. Our next subject, Selena. Of course, it was a great tribute to the late great Selena Quintanilla on Premios Juventud. That was on Univision last week, and the new reggaetoneras and crop of Latin girls did their job. Natty Natasha, Diana Paola, Gracie, Allie Brooke. I'm getting familiar with a lot of these new upcoming singers, and they did their thing, paying tribute to Selena and A.B. Quintanilla. Selena's brother actually produced the performance, and he actually got some props at the end. So yeah, that was kind of cool. By the way, I know a lot of folks were asking about the Selena series on Netflix. We believe that is postponed. There's no word. It's going to star Christian Serratos. You know her from, if you're a Walking Dead fan, she played Lupita on that show. Beautiful actress and very talented. So it was supposed to be out in October because of COVID messing everything up. So the Selena series is still on the back burner for now for Selena fans out there.
All right.
Yeah.
What else we got?
And Colombiano J Balvin, a great reggaeton artist who's actually on Premios Juventud. He admitted that he has and is recuperating from COVID-19. So definitely he's spreading his message of saying this is not a joke, and he wants people to take it seriously, and it's really dangerous. He's going through some health issues, but recuperating. So sending J Balvin some healing vibes, and get well soon.
Like I said,
I know a few people that have
a real disease, bro. It's a real disease, bro.
Yeah, I know some people that are, are in the industry that have chosen not to share with the world, obviously, that they've had it because one is there's a lot of, there could be potential repercussions. There's some, potential shaming. I had a very good friend in the entertainment industry that was, one of my partners from back in the days. I mean, and when he shared with me, I mean, he was in tears, but he was, he shared that he had lost the smell and taste. Luckily, he survived it. And then I know some other high profile managers and people that are out there in the industry that have gone through it too. So, but they just kept it quiet because again, they're of their statute.
There's still a lot unknown about the disease. That everyone has different symptoms. Some people have all digestive symptoms. And so, yes, take care of yourself. Wear your mask, people.
Yes. I got it right here.
Me too. Where is it? I dig it up. We'll do that at the end of the show.
Oh, Oh man!
And it's all about the LCIMC, and that's the Las Cruces International Mariachi Festival, which is it's a cool event. It's in its 26th year. These guys throw down. And they were supposed to have classes and in-person events, of course. That didn't happen due to the coronavirus. But they pressed on. They will do virtual student classes for students. They cater to youth, and they help and preserve the mariachi art and also folklorico dancing, as well. I had a sibling that did folklorico in school. So that is one of those arts that needs to be preserved. And these guys do their thing every year. They have students from all over the world come in. And a shout out to my friend and Chuy's friend, Silvia Chacon. Chacho, Miss Radio Star, and her daughter is actually in folklorico. She went to Mexico. Her name's Sofia, and she told me to give her. I'm gonna give her a shout out. She dances for Ballet Folklorico de Mexico de Amalia Hernandez. So a shout out to Sylvia and her family and Sofia. They were supposed to tour this year, but of course, that's been postponed. So sending much love your way.
Now, you know what I look forward to every year here in San Francisco? They do this thing called the Mariachi Festival. It happens at Davies Symphony Hall, and it's like they do traditional Mexican songs, but they also do a lot of the mariachi carols in mariachi form.
Yeah.
Wait, bro, you're saying mariachi? Aren't you fucking Mexicano, cabrón?
No,
mariachi, cabrón. Mariachi.
No, fool. The show is called the Mariachi.
Mariachi, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, the mariachi.
My bad for talking shit. Right? I got offended over here. I was like, what the fuck? Like, come on, bro.
Mariachis, bro.
Fucking mariachi and shit. Come on, bro.
The mariachi, because it's during the holidays. Mariachis.
Do you know who's listening to you right now backstage? You know your shit now is going to be the next joke, bro. You're
not me, bro. He knows.
No, bro. Bullshit. You're gonna get blasted now, bro. That's all I gotta say. He's listening back there. You're gonna get blasted. You know I love you, Chuy. You know I love you, my brother.
It's all good. It's time to move on into it's time to move on into our community topic.
Yes. All right. And that's a cue for me to hit.
Oh,
gotta love it, man. God, it just wound me up for like, come on, let's get it going. Let's get it going.
And the community topic involves voting, of course. For the first time, Latinos lead the nation as a minority with the most voting power. Si se puede. Just a little excerpt from an article that we mentioned. We'll post a link to it later. For the first time, Latino Americans are the largest racial minority, with a record 32 million projected to be eligible to vote. So very important that you get out there, vote. Get more info depending on your state. All info you need, even mail-in ballot information, vote.org. It's a nonpartisan organization. Speaking of partisan, the Democratic National Convention kicked off today, all this week, and next Monday will be the kickoff to the RNC, which is the Republican National Convention. So, yes, we're in knee deep in voting season.
77 days, folks. 77 days left.
Yes,
okay?
77.
Yes, time to make a change, man. A real change, and we can't have people sleeping at the wheel on this one. I mean, they were talking about the whole unfunding the post office, which again, you know what? I've always gotten my ballot in the mail, but I've always done where I go and actually take it to the county registrar, and I've dropped it in the box myself. One, I like to brag about it. I like to also show to people that, hey, I did my part. You guys need to go do your part. And then I like to get the little sticker that says I voted. So, I put it on, and then,
it's a sense of pride. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I remember I as soon as I turned 18, my first president I voted for was Clinton, and that was my first vote. So I've always been a participant on all elections. Never have missed an election to this date. Thank you, God. And, we need to encourage everyone to be out there. And not just here in the United States, but globally, we need everyone to get active in their communities and in their countries so that they can get involved and vote. I mean, you've seen people are getting, they're tired of being tired of the bullshit that's going on with certain governments, so they got to get active, and they are, and their voices are being heard.
That's right. And we got to ask our next guest about, I'm sure he's got some viewpoints on the voting season.
Let's get to it. Let's get to our guest. Let's go.
Let's just jump right into it, huh? All right, here we go. So, and we've got to definitely thank you, Chuy, for all of this, man. Thank you again for the whole team, and Alex for putting an amazing production for this. So here we go.
This superstar actor and comedian is a native of Los Angeles who grew up in San Fernando Valley's Mission Hills and has built a successful career by finding humor in his childhood in the Mexican-American community. His stand-up comedy routines have led to several Grammy nominations. Jorge Lopez is the first Latino to host a late-night talk show on an American network and was one of the few Latinos to star in a television comedy series. He also makes time for La Comunidad and has been recognized for his work including Artist of the Year by the Harvard Foundation, various Alma Awards and Special Achievement in Television, and many more. George was also honorary mayor of Los Angeles for his extensive earthquake fundraising efforts for Guatemala and El Salvador. Can't stop, won't stop. OYE is proud to welcome Jorge Lopez.
Yes.
How about that intro?
You know, I'm glad I was able to make it because earlier today they were having a mariachi festival in the park.
I told you. Mariachi. I'm like, what the? Like, are you
No,
serious?
with no strings, so nobody gets hurt.
Hey, bro, that's the name of the show. I wasn't making it up. Look it up. The mariachi show at Davies Symphony Hall. Blame that on Davies Symphony Hall, bro.
Hey, you're gonna lose your OYE sticker right there. You keep talking like that, cabrón. They're gonna slide it.
So, yo, bro, great to have you here, man. How are you surviving this COVID thing, brother? You all right?
Yeah, you know what? Since I have a transplant, having a compromised immune system, so I still go out and I just do it, socially distant. So, this is a real thing that everybody needs to address. That it's serious, and much of our homes smell like products or patas. But if you lose your smell, don't look at it as a good thing. Normally, we'd be like, man, this room used to smell like culo, but now I don't smell nothing. That's when you need to go get checked and check your temperature and all those things that make us, because we don't go to the doctor as consistently as some other cultures, make us higher risk for this disease, this COVID, this virus.
It's funny you say that because it's not a stereotype. It's like for real. Like my dad has had messed up teeth for almost half a year. I go, Dad, go see the doctor. No, I'm fine. And like he still has not gone to the doctor. I'm like, dude, you're tripping. You can get an infection from not taking care of your teeth.
Yeah,
and, like, as Latinos, y'all put the pride aside. Go get checked out.
You know how we always take a relative into the room with us, and they'll be in a chair back there, and the dentist will say, you have plaque in your teeth, and what happens is when you're asleep, the plaque particles break out, and they can go down into your heart, and they can cause you to have a stroke or a heart attack. And from the chair back there, you hear, that's me. That's what I got. You're not even the patient, but somehow you got whatever he has. I got more of.
Oh wow, the uncomfortable silence. What the fuck happened here?
I don't want to go to the whole interview, bro. I was allowing y'all.
Hey,
I was processing that joke. It was great.
You were on the roll, man. What's up? All of a sudden, te quedaste calladito over here. George, I want to say first of all, thank you very much for being here. I remember the first show I saw you at was at the Punchline in San Francisco. I had just barely moved up to the Bay Area from Los Angeles. I'm from Highland Park. I'm a neighbor of yours, so it was just an amazing experience. And the first joke, and it was just the funniest shit that I ever heard, was when you were capping on Rigo Chacon here from the Bay Area. He was and God bless his soul, and his son is out there watching. But those were some great memories, and just those laughters and those moments where we got to share and connect and just laugh about all the stupid shit and just the real stuff of being in a Latino family. It was just amazing. And, through laughter, through music, through food, we all come together and we all share a common thing, which is love. We got to love what we do in order to continue to propel. And you've done amazing. You had a very amazing and very just your career just flourished, man. And then we have a couple of clips back here of some of your past, and we'd like to share that. We're not asking for permission. We're just going to share it. So
they already make memes out of it anyway. So go ahead, let's see them.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with this is one of your first sitcoms that you were on.
What are you doing?
Trying to get the taste of Brad's tongue out of my mouth.
we need to talk.
You can begin with the Max is more important speech now.
Look, Max is more important at this moment, Carmen. Okay, and there's times that you're more important than Max. Look, it's not easy, but sometimes your mother and I have to do things that aren't good for everybody.
Really? Name one time you did something that was good for me and bad for Max.
You want to know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. Carmen, your private school costs so much that Max isn't going to get a new bike, he's not getting a computer, and he's never getting braces.
I didn't realize he was giving all that up.
Well, neither does he, so don't say nothing.
All right. I remember that day. I remember that day of shooting that. It was a little bit later in the day. I remember that everybody had gone home. It was just Marciela and I. But, you know, all of those things, man, like, you know, I met Chuy and you guys, you know, a long, long time ago. And it's funny, man, because, you know, everybody wants to be a success and everybody wants to, you know, be able to provide for your family. And the journey, I remember I was one time in a room with Seinfeld and some guys over here at the Hermosa Beach Comedy Club. And those guys were already, I think Chris Rock and Seinfeld, some guys, they're like, you know, the journey is what the fun part is. Getting there is the hard part, but the road is the best part. And, you know, I'm going to think that's true. Like when we used to go there, we used to hang out on Fridays and then be there for the whole week. And there was such less pressure on somebody to be either, you know, politically correct or to be popular. You were just doing your work. And then, you know, as you start to achieve different parts of success, you know, the road gets narrower. You look around, you don't have as many people around you, and it's just you. So a lot of times, you know, many Latinos like to travel and kind of like in groups and in packs, but you got to remember that you're an individual, and if something happens to them, they go off, but if something happens to you, you go off. You usually don't take the whole group. Like sometimes in bands where they'll say early on, hey, you know, we like the singer, but we don't like the other people in the band, and you have to make that hard decision. But we make decisions as a group, and I think we should start making decisions as individuals and what's right for us as an individual instead of what's right for us as a group.
That's funny because that's always been the case. Like you never catch me by myself almost anywhere, and it's always more comforting and more at ease when you're with somebody that you trust or feel good with. But you got to definitely step out on your own. But I want to go back and tell the folks how you and I met, because there was a guy named Rick Chase on the station that we worked at, and he brought on all the comedians from Sam Kinison to yourself to all the guys that were hot at the time. And you came into the studio, and I was just starstruck. I mean, you were up and coming at the time. You were still doing your thing. But, you know, Rick Chase really took it upon himself to promote the comedians. And you and I started a relationship there. Just tell the folks, you know, the relationship you and Rick Chase had early on in those days.
Well, you know, at that time, you know, before the internet, before social media, like you had to have, you know, radio promotions usually in the morning for somebody to take care of you, somebody to look after you, somebody to mention your plugs and stuff like that. So Rick was in the afternoon, huge guy, huge popular guy in San Francisco. I'd run into him at Rooster Feathers in Sunnyvale, kind of took me under his wing, met him at some, you know, live shows, and he would come out. You know, Rick was a great friend, tortured individual, man. So sad that sometimes the people that are the most creative and reach the largest reach of people are sometimes the people with the most issues and the most troubled. You know, when he passed, I was very sad, but I have fond memories of either conversations that we had, me, Rick, and Chuy talking. And one time when my first CD came out, Alien Nation, he was playing some pieces on the radio that got everybody upset. And I remember he called me. He goes, "Hey, man, we're going to sell 1,000 CDs today, man. These phones are sold up. These people hate you." I said, "All right, good." God rest his soul, man. God rest his soul. You need people in your life like that don't have any agenda other than they like what you do. They like your talent. You know, from that time, Chuy and I have been friends. We've been friends over 25 years, 30 years.
Easy.
And always, you know, anything he wants to have happen. His family's great. Always come to the shows. So those things are the things that are talking about being an individual, is when you go to a town and you're able to see your friends, like to see Chuy or see his family. And, you know, we all went to Santana. We all went to Comedy Get Down. And we all went to that stuff right there. So, you know, you do have an extended family around this country, and San Francisco and the Bay Area has always been a great place for me. And it started with Chuy. It started with Rick Chase.
And with that being said, I mean, Rick Chase was, I'll tell you, this is the kind of guy he was. He took me and my son to Disneyland on his dime and paid for everything and says, yo, I know you're a young dad. You don't got it like that. I got to go out there. I don't have no family here. You are my family. Disneyland is on me. And I tell you, I paid for nothing. He would not let me pay for a Coke, a pretzel, nothing. Everything's on me. And that's the kind of dude he was. It's like when Jorge, George did his screening for his movie. He flew me out on his dime, paid for travel, accommodations, the limo to and from to the screening and everything. George is just a good dude. I mean, and people, they kind of see what they see on TV or see what they hear, but they don't know that this guy's a genuinely good dude. And I love you, bro, forever.
Yeah. The thing is that people, like wrestling, man, you have to separate the performer from the actual person. I unfortunately, everything that I've done have been George Lopez. Like if you look at other comedians, when they do their shows, their name is something other than what their real name is. So for me, every show that I've done, and I believe that I'm the only one in the history of television that maybe Lucille Ball, but then she was Lucille Arnaz, that I've been George Lopez in almost in every show that I've done. And I don't think that's happened before. So people seem to think or sometimes think that I'm the guy that does the stand-up, and then you're the guy that's the tax collector, and then you're the guy from, we'll do it for half. And there are variations, like a dimmer switch. Sometimes the room is better lit. Sometimes it's a little dark, sometimes it's a little medium. So, I tried never to be just one person. And I think showing that clip of, the animation and the talk show and the radio and the sitcom and the movies and all that stuff, if it hasn't paved the way for other Latinos, then I don't think that I've been doing it right. But I think it has, and I think there's more opportunities even in a difficult time like this. But there's great people out there doing great work and doing different kinds of work, and I don't think we had that 18 to 20 years ago when I started my first show.
No.
Right. And with that being said, and I want to talk about how we didn't have a lot of Latinos in TV. We had Chico and the Man. So, so I know you're a big fan of Richard Pryor, but what did Freddie Prinz Jr. mean to you as a young Latino watching TV, a young Chicano dude?
Well, when I saw Chico and the Man the first time, it kind of hit me like a bit of a lightning bolt, man, because, for NBC to give this guy who's Puerto Rican Hungarian playing Chicano in East LA, going to work in a garage that the guy didn't want him there. It's like all of us, when nobody wants you in the room, nobody wants you around the house, get out of here, why don't you go outside? So to see a guy like that, and knowing that he did stand-up, and I mean, that guy was only 22 when he passed, and he was hosting the Tonight Show. He was opening for people in Las Vegas. He had a pretty sharp, very deep career in maybe wasn't even around 4 years. No, and then, growing up and watching that and not forgetting, other people had forgotten him. I'd never really forgotten him. I never thought that I would ever get a chance to honor him and his family. But in 2006, I paid for him to be a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, because before I went in, it was important for me that Freddie Prinz went in before me. And if they said, hey, he won't go in, then I wouldn't have gone into the Walk of Fame. So that's how important it is for me to appreciate someone who didn't live long, but left a imprint on me that lasts even today. His son and I are good friends, and it means a lot to me to be able to know the family of, the people that I admired coming up. That's
awesome. Do you miss late night? I mean, I know you were doing some Jimmy Kimmel, and do you miss having a late night talk show?
That's a good question, man. The 2 years that we were on, TBS, TBS probably wasn't the best place to go, but we wanted to do the show, so we went there. In the time that I was doing the talk show, the scope of the performers were incredible. The booking agents, the comedy agents, all the comedians, all the music, top notch. You'd go in a meeting and they'd say, oh, it's too much of this. It's not enough women watching. It's too many men watching. Not enough African Americans watching. Too many watching. And I think they expected a show that that they liked and not a show that the people liked. And that's what I couldn't get to them. It's like, if you don't like that I did something at night, or if you don't like that I said something that was a little bit off color, the show is not for you to like. It's a show for the people to find and for the people to like. They couldn't get past the fact that if they didn't think it was funny, that they were standing in the way of the audience seeing it. And I was like, let the audience decide, and don't put yourself in front of the show. There was this guy, David Hudson, I talked about him on Howard Stern. This guy was maybe the worst executive that you could have working on a show. This guy would go into the trailer and fall asleep. This guy was going in trying to hit on all the singers and doing all this stuff. And that was the guy that TBS had sent to be the courier of the show. And this guy was just horrific, man, a horrible person and a horrible dude, backbiter and all that stuff. So, you know, when we announced to the staff that we weren't going to continue past, I think it was the end of July, but we did that in maybe the end of May. Nobody left. Everybody stayed until we were done. So do I miss it? A bit, you know, but I'm not sure if I wanted to do it for 10 years. I probably would have liked to have done it for a little bit longer than 2 seasons, but it was a great opportunity for me to do something that was new and something that was different. And I like that. I didn't like going into work every day and having somebody either twist you one way or twist you the other, and just not, you know, I would have liked for a year to just go by where they would have just let us do the show without any interference.
Now, did you have a lot to say? Did you pick the musical group that performed and everything? You had a lot to say in the artists that come on the show?
Oh man, I mean, listen, Far East Movement. It was Bieber's first late night show. I remember I went to see Rock of Ages. I saw Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon there, put him on the show. I saw Leonard Skinner, put him on the show. If I saw somebody, the greatest was, I'd gone to a Laker game and Denzel came around behind me and grabbed my arm and he said, "Hey, I'm going to do your show, man. My son told me it's the show to do," as he was walking, and he did. So to get that guy by his son, to get people to watch because their kids were watching, was the kind of show that we wanted to do, was the direction that we wanted to go in. And I'm going to tell you, man, that you know, Prince was on, and I think the show was over like at 7. We probably didn't leave there till like maybe 11. After every show, I'm pretty sure I'd be dead by now if I'd have continued the road that I was going into. One time I was drinking with John Popper from Blues Traveler, and I said, "Hey man, are you the greatest harmonica player in the world?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." Started playing, gave me a harmonica. We're doing shots. I lived in Hollywood. As I was going over the Cahuenga Pass, I turned into the Hollywood Bowl thinking it was my street. And I went up and I looked around. I said, "Oh man, this is the Hollywood Bowl. I don't live here. I made a wrong turn. I could have sworn I was on my street." And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to either get a driver and I'm not going to maybe stay as long. But I have great memories of 2 great years with great people, and it was a lot of fun.
Man, so do we. We have so many great memories. Matter of fact, we're going to roll into a clip right now of the show, but we'll come right back, though. But we have many great memories watching the show at the house.
We're going to hit this one real quick.
Two locals from the world-famous Ice House in Pasadena. There are all kinds, all kinds of Latino people here. We all came in the same car. Very nice. We all go in the same car. We don't take 2 cars. We all go in the same car. You suggest 2 cars, your family think you've sold out. Grandma, I think we should take 2 cars. Ay, míralo, take 2 cars, muy chingón. We don't have 2 cars, cabrón. Let's get it. And why don't we fill it up with gas también, para acabarle chingar? Put the 53 cents in I told you to put in. You know what we need to do as Latinos, I think now that we're the majority of people, is to go to the doctor. We never go to the doctor. They tell you not to go. I don't feel good. Don't go to the doctor. Because they're going to find something wrong with you. Don't go. Don't go. If I were you, I wouldn't go. It's opposite. But what if I die? Well, it's your time. It's your time. Have you drank a 7-Up? That's why you're sick. Drink a 7-Up. Chingate todo el bote.
Yeah.
Oh man. Man. some memories there. Hey, really quick, I just want to echo with Chuy and with you, George. We're talking about family and extended family. I want to welcome you and be an extended part of your family as well. The whole LATINLIVE world coming together, and we want to be a part of bringing all of you and sending your message out to the world through our platform. And I personally, I think I'd like to become like Chuy, like the junior part of the family here. And, so I want to earn those stripes and, amazing, just the message and just everything. And then too, the fact that, the honoring of a star on the Walk of Fame, that's very honorable to allow someone before you because of how you felt. And Chuy, I believe that you deserve a star on the Walk of Fame, bro, for broadcasting, man. You've been doing a lot of great work and a lot for the community that I know that there's different versions of stars on the Walk of Fame. You deserve one too, my brother. And
I appreciate it. Definitely.
Yeah, no.
Real briefly, before we get right back to George, shout out to Sway, who just made it. He just got himself into the Radio Hall of Fame. So big shout out to my man Sway from Sway's Universe on Sirius XM. He was on KMEL with us, EFREN and myself, back in the day with the Wake Up Show. And so he just made it and then got inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame, which is awesome. And
good people.
Well, then Chuy needs to go into the Radio Hall of Fame. Because if it's for longevity of a career, influence of a person's in the career, I would be happy to take over the mantle and about this time next year on this show announce that we got Chuy into the Radio Hall of Fame. That's where he belongs.
That'd be awesome. But George's generosity doesn't stop there, bro. And I keep throwing him flowers because you got to. I don't want to throw his flowers at him when he's gone. But for Richard Pryor, he did something very special. I'm not going to speak on it. I'm gonna let him do what he does. But he's not going to speak on it unless you bring it up. So George, please tell them how you played your respects to Richard Pryor, who you loved.
All right. Well, I'm an only child. I didn't know my father. And my mother didn't raise me. My grandparents raised me. And I spent a lot of time watching television. So in 1979, when Live in Long Beach had come out, Richard Pryor, maybe they considered the greatest stand-up ever recorded. That when On TV started, my buddy Ernie had a VHS of Richard Pryor. And I had it at my house. And I watched that thing. I'm going to tell you, I watched that thing 10,000 times. And I tell people that was the only black person that my grandmother let in the house by VHS. He never opened the door, only by VHS. How did he get in here? The VHS. And using that as almost like tying yourself to stand up by Richard Pryor, and then one time in the early 80s, there was a Rolls Royce, a yellow Rolls Royce in front of the Comedy Store on a Saturday night. And somebody said that Richard Pryor's in that car over there. So, people were looking and my buddy Ernie said, go over there and say hello. So I walked over there and I got to the window and he was listening to himself on a cassette recorder. And I backed up and I was like, that's all I need to see is that if he's recording his shows and he's Richard Pryor, then, that I don't need to bother him by saying hello. But then as I became successful and started to, honor Freddie, and then I knew that Jennifer Pryor, and I used to go see Richard before he passed, and his statue in Peoria, Illinois, he was kind of non grata because, of his drug use and lighting himself on fire and the background of his family. And right around the time that he was about to pass in 2007, the city had commissioned a statue in his honor in the corner where his uncle's pool hall was and grandma's business was, and that businesses weren't there anymore. So they had come up like $85,000 short. They had tried to start it, started another fundraiser. And then in like 2012 or 13, I said, hey, why don't we just do a show in Peoria with some comedians and, the money that's raised will go to the statue. So that's how I got Cedric and DL and Charlie Murphy, God rest his soul, and Mike Epps and Cedric and myself to do that show. And then we raised the money for the statue. And the statue's been up now for maybe 5 or 6 years. So, I feel like when your heart is full and you've left nothing undone, you've left nothing to chance. I honored the two guys who kind of brought me up, who I felt like were the most influential to me. even though I didn't really know him. I knew Richard kind of older when he was already sick. But it means a lot to me that I would be able to do that for them and not expect anything for myself in return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, and we commend you, brother. I mean, that takes a big heart to do that, brother. So love.
You know, you come around. You know, you come around, and I think a lot of times success can make people worse. I think you guys have all seen people who achieve some success and they go off into another direction. Yeah. But in my real heart, that success has made me more generous and more understanding and more compassionate than I was before I was successful. And it maybe, people always say, does your success surprise you? It didn't surprise me because I worked harder than everybody else. But what surprised me is that I didn't become evil when I got success. I stayed kind of a good dude.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I want to get your temperature check on this up-down election year. I know we got voting coming up 77 days away. Trying to get Latinos out to vote. What is the message that you would give our fellow Latinos?
Well, you have to be a citizen to vote. So if your vote for you, we have to be the vote for the people that don't have the ability to vote. If we don't like the way things are, I don't care who you vote for. There's a lot of people that swing right, a lot of people swing blue, swing red. Just vote. It's not a fair system. And I think the Electoral College is a dated college from way back when there wasn't. I agree. They needed to add people to states, but things need to change because this life that we have right now of uncertainty has never been the life of somebody from the United States. It's never been a global pandemic like this. Maybe years ago, the Spanish flu, but for the economy of the world to stop and for it to stop on one dude thinking that it's not real, it's real. And the way we change things is to become involved and to vote and stay up on the subjects. And if you don't like anything, remember that everybody who's elected works for you as a citizen of the United States. If you don't like it, call them up, send them an email, make your voice heard. And in 77 days, hopefully, we can get past this and start 2021 on a better note.
Yeah, restart 2020. Well, put it behind us, but hit restart because definitely it's el tema que ha dejado and the worry that it's done to all the people. It's really not a good one, man.
And as Latinos too, we're waiting for somebody to come and rescue us. There's nobody that's going to come and rescue us. You have to rescue yourself. You have to go to school. Right. You have to go to work. You have to save your money. You have to take care of your kids. You have to do whatever you need to do to take care of your obligations as a person, as a man, as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, and as a child. A lot of times we wait for people to serve on us or we serve other people. Now that we've had 3, almost 4 years of this, it's time for us to step up out of the shadows and to start serving ourselves and start looking at ourselves as more than just some, people who work in the fields and people who work in the shadows. We don't work in the shadows and we don't work in the fields. We work in every aspect of this world, not just in the United States, not just in Latin American countries. We're everywhere. And now we've been waiting for somebody to come and rescue us. Now is the time that we need to come out there and rescue ourselves.
Amen. Amen.
If you don't know how to swim, you're going to drown. So learn how to swim, learn how to kick, learn how to fight, and go out there and vote. Don't wait for somebody to throw you some pinchy life raft that's not going to come.
No, that's wishful thinking. And I agree with you on the success. Success it's what you do with the success. And you can either go. It's almost like you hit the fork. You can go right or left, and right is positive and left is evil. As long as you can turn all of those successes into positive and make an impact and give back to the world, then really that's what's fulfilling. And I agree, man. It's amen to what you just shared with all of the people watching. So,
and you don't do it for likes, and you don't do it for pats on the back. You just do it because it's the decent thing to do. So you do it out of your own conscience. You do it out of your own humanity. You do it for your own decency.
Now let's talk about some of the stuff that you've been in. You were in El Chicano. You were recently in the Tax Collector. You got the special that's out right now that will do it for half. Talk to me a little bit about all those and tell us what else you got coming up.
Well, I made a shift more to dramatic acting from, a little bit of drama early, River Runs Red, where you play a guy who lost his son to police, violence. And then, El Chicano was a little more serious. I did a thing called No Man's Land that's coming out, I guess, after this, or maybe might come out while this is all going on, about a Texas Ranger who goes into Mexico to go after a person who shot a kid that was crossing. It was a white guy, and he goes into Mexico, so I chase him into Mexico. And then, of course, Tax Collector was a great movie to do with a powerful director, and Shia, Bobby, all the actors and actresses that are in it. Is doing very well right now on iTunes, and so I think the feel of it now, and even in some of the TV things that have been presented to me over this last year, it won't be a sitcom. I won't think it'll be a reboot of my first show. I think it'll be an hour-long, maybe drama comedy instead of a half-hour show. It'll probably be a little more dramatic. So if I did that, I'd stick around a little bit longer to see how it goes. But, at 59, 60, I think maybe when I'm 61, I was born in 61, I might retire in 61. So you got the whole 61, and I'm out, been doing it 41 years. And if there's one thing that this is, this sudden, stop of everyone's life has taught me or showed me, is that, I've got good people around me. I got people that love me. I got to learn how to love people back, but it's given me a chance to, appreciate what I've done. And when we restart, I'm not sure if I want to go that hard again, like I was going up until, mid-February.
So do you like doing the dramatical roles a lot more? Because I know you're taking them very seriously. I mean, especially when I just seen Tax Collector, like I could see you really trying to get into the role. And I was like, yo, my boy's been actually, you taking classes and stuff, or what's the deal?
I have some pretty good teachers, and David Ayer told me, hey man, I don't want to see you smile. I don't want to see George Lopez in any of these scenes. I don't want to see anybody look at you and say, oh, that's him. So he says, lock yourself in, loco, get down in there, man. These, you're an OG, you're running LA, and these vatos are trying to like come in and take your business. So I like the dramatic part of it. So yeah, I think it fits more of our character, a little more dramatic than comedy, than being a payaso. But I think
no, but it was dope though, because even in El Chicano, when you play the cop, it's like that was so different for you, especially when you used to seeing George, bashing the cops, and all of a sudden he's playing the cop, and just seeing you in those roles, and I'm like, yo, this vato's really like gotten into his thing. I mean, like you're getting into these characters. Yeah,
it was fun, man. I mean, it's been great to Ben Bray and I are from the same town, San Fernando, out here in California, and it's good, man. It's been a good way to do it. It started like Reno 911. I played the mayor, this corrupt mayor, Hernandez. That kind of started it, because you're out there borracho, you're a drug addict mayor, and he's just kind of doing this thing. So those guys helped me get a foot in, and then now people write things. I'm working on something with Esteban and Mr. Cartoon that together, all of us together, a couple of things, and it feels right with those guys, because I've known those guys for 20 years, and I have a high amount of respect for each of them for their talents. And the three of us together on these calls just feels like the next step. It feels like the next level.
Love it. I love to see the new chapter that you've taken in your moves. But let's also talk about your comedy, because you got that special that's out right now that's really doing well. I know I had a great time watching it as well.
Well, we'll do it for half. The title came from, in early January, Iran had allegedly an $80 million bounty on the leader of the country. And then it was 80 million. I was at lunch with Cedric and his family. I got in my car. I looked at Hollywood Unlocked on Instagram, and it said 80 million. And then I just wrote, we'll do it for half. And by the time I got home, man, I got calls. I turn on your TV, look at your thing, and man, that it was just had blown up to this huge viral thing that it was on Fox News and Alex Jones, and they wanted me to go to prison, and they wanted me to take my shows off, and they wanted to do all this stuff. And I got and going viral, man, it's like, people will send you just the meanest things that anybody could ever say. But I've been in the fire before. I can handle the fire. So it didn't. I didn't apologize. Either way, but I did get a visit from the Secret Service at this house, and they wanted to see if I meant our leader any harm. I told them I didn't mean him any harm, and they said, "Do you think that was funny?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't think it's funny right now, but with you guys. But I thought it was funny when I wrote it." And then I told them it wasn't a threat as much as it was an estimate. It was an estimate of my work. It wasn't a threat.
Oh my God, I love it. Hey, it's not the first time this guy has had a bounty.
Why can't we get in trouble? Everybody else gets in trouble for saying shit. Why can't we get in trouble? We can go viral too if we're not agreeing with the way shit is.
A huevo.
Así tiene que ser. I mean, hey, we don't have to agree. I mean, it is what it is, and that's what I love, about the way you communicate and you articulate your message and your comedy and how you put it out there. It can relate to the regular person that's like, what the fuck's going on around here? Like, why are we dealing with all this bullshit? And then we can laugh about it and really just put some perspective to it, and it's just bananas, man. Bananas.
I bought this house right here. So I live in this part of town I always wanted to live in. When I bought this house, the trees on the side of the house right here hadn't been cut in 17 years. I cut the trees down, and then my neighbor calls and he says he's unhappy with me. I said, "For what?" And he goes, "I want to talk to you about this." He came to this driveway right here, and I said, "Listen, man, I didn't buy this house so I could ask your permission whether I could cut these fucking trees down or not. I'm going to tell you right now, it's better for you to go home, because if I hear one more fucking word about these trees, I'm going to cut those motherfuckers in half."
Yes.
I haven't seen them. That was 5.5 years ago. I've seen them 3 times in 5.5 years.
Good for him. Good.
So,
good.
Don't let anybody check you.
No.
That's right.
Because they're trying to put you in your place. Don't let anybody ever put you in your place. You put yourself in your own place. That's something I'm also right here, neighbor, trying to tell me how to fucking live my life. Fuck that.
Right. Yeah. Hey, and that's the way we gotta continue to keep moving along the way.
Fuck Larry David.
Forward. Yeah.
Your neighbor, right? Larry David? Nah.
Oh man.
I don't know what that guy's name is, but I don't see him anymore.
Man, it got so intense here. So we got 2 more clips here, by the way. Some pretty funny ones too. If we want to hit them, or what do you think, Chuy? What's the thought here? We got time here, brother.
We can play a clip, but I want to ask him about 2 more things before we let him go. I know he's got to go. I know he's got a busy thing.
Okay.
One thing is your love for the guitar, brother.
I know.
I see you getting down with the guitar. How many guitars have you collected, and has that always been a love for you?
Well, I tried to play guitar since I was 15, and it's all my friends did it. A couple of them still play, and I would always start and stop. And I decided maybe 6 years ago that I would play every day, that I wouldn't stop playing. And I got some great ones in here, man. I got one right here. Let me see that one right there. That when the other one. When my show went to 100 episodes, they made me this guitar, which
nice, Mira.
And it says 100 episodes on the. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool.
So between that and on the show, we had a band on the show, me and my friend Ernie. So between all that stuff and wanting to play and knowing Carlos Santana like I do, and all these other guys, Van Halen, and like all the guys I grew up watching that I became friends with. So it's a relaxing thing to do. I didn't realize I'd have time to play 10 hours a day for 6 months, but I play all the time and I love it. I don't know. I don't know. Like golf was a thing that that kind of captured my my dedication, and I think for being as tough as golf is, and wanting to quit golf and wanting to be good at golf, that you can't quit and be good. So I decided to continue to play. I found out that in my personality, that when things would get tough, I would always quit, and I didn't realize that. And a lot of people told me that I was a quitter. And they told me that they were wasting their time on me because I wouldn't commit to them, or I wouldn't, follow through. And it wasn't until I started playing golf, because I think when somebody tells you you're something, you immediately don't agree that you're that. But then when something that doesn't speak and doesn't feel like golf, when I started to play and I started to play bad, I would pick up my ball and I would leave the guys there. And I started to realize one day that, yeah, it is me that, when something gets tough to do, I stop doing it. So golf changed my life that way. And I think just meeting, people that you admire, like Carlos Santana gave me that green one that's back there on the wall. And it's just something that, I don't know, man, it's just kind of when you feel it in your heart and you know that maybe I'm not as good as I want to be, but it's something that I enjoy. It feels good.
I was gonna say, and it makes you feel good. I mean, at the end of the day, what makes you feel good is what's the most rewarding, almost.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not Jorge Santana, but I'm fucking having a great time right now strumming this thing.
Yeah, you know what? I saw Jorge. That time over there when Carlos opened the
Chase Center.
Chase Center, and Jorge was there. He went up. It was War and Santana and Jorge, and we hung around backstage. He and I talking about doing Malo as a documentary and Chicano Rock as a documentary. And, Carlos was out doing other stuff and he and I were sitting there talking. And it's the last time I saw him before he passed. But I mean, the last time I saw him, he looked incredible. He played good. And the better part is that he had peace. Him and his brother had made up and they were together. And we talked about the years they didn't talk and it all kind of works out. So that when he did go, that he had peace in his heart, and him and his brother had mend their fences. And, I felt bad that he was gone, but also felt inspired that the way he lived, he found the right way at the end. He found himself at the end.
Yeah, and it was beautiful to see him. I got a chance to see him play with Carlos. So it was Jorge and Carlos together, both at the Shoreline and then at Chase Center when he brought him out. It was just beautiful to see both of them. And you could tell that they had a great bond, that like they rekindled their brotherhood, their kinship. And so that was beautiful to see in person. The other thing,
there's a lot of us that have brothers and sisters and relatives that we don't talk to. I mean, as much as I talk about these other things, those I think for us as a culture, those are the most difficult relationships to fix, because I have aunts and uncles that I don't think that I would necessarily reach out to them because the hurt is so deep and it goes back so far. But that's ultimate forgiveness. If I was ever able to go back and do that, that would be, I don't expect it to happen, but it would be monumental if us as a culture were able to forgive and forget.
Yeah, because you know which tía not to invite, because your other tía is going to be there, and you're like, no vais a invitar a la tía María porque la tía Concha acá se enoja, and then it just gets really bad.
Escándalo.
Yeah, it's scandalo for real. And the other thing I wanted to also mention that maybe folks don't know about you, that you're a real proponent about adopting pets. What is it? Adopt, don't shop. Is that what it is? And I wanted you to speak on that a little bit, because folks don't understand that these are animals and they have living parts, and they got feelings that we don't really necessarily take into account.
You can help a person and maybe they don't appreciate it, and maybe they just keep coming back and they don't want to help themselves. You can lend somebody money. You're not necessarily sure what they're going to do with it, but they come to you and they need it, and then they use it for something else. And then you get burned by people by trying to be good and to help someone when they don't want to help themselves. They're looking for other people to help them. And I did that show on TV Land, Lopez, and when we were shooting the pilot for it, there was this actress there, and she worked for Hope for Paws, and she said, "Do you ever see these videos of these dogs that we go on rescue?" And I said, "No, like what are they?" They go, there'll be like a pit bull that's left by the side of the road, or there's a dog that they cut his leg off and threw him in the wash, or there's a Chihuahua that is left by on the porch and the owners have moved and just left them there. And when you go approach them, they want to bite you and they want to hide and they piss on themselves and they're just so afraid. And just with a little bit of compassion, a little bit of some attention, that their whole demeanor changes, man. They become these loving, incredible pets. They become, part of your family. And, once I started to watch those things, man, I'd stay up in the middle of the night and they brought so much emotion to me because they're discarded. So many times, they look at us like throwaways and not important, and somebody else more important than you. And then to see these dogs just make this turn, I've had maybe over the last 6 years, maybe 20 here. And I've given a lot of them away, and I've kept a lot of them. And I've had some, unfortunately, pass. They were maybe not in the best condition that I got them in. I had just one that just passed that really, really affected me. I got them. Whenever there's a slot open, I tell this girl Natalie. I said, "Hey, Natalie, go to the shelters and go see what's up." And there's a bunch of little dogs there, and they're all waiting for the owners. They have chips in their neck. And she's like, "Hey, all these dogs are, they're spoken for." And then the woman said, "Hey, there's one in the back." And then there's one in the back. And this dog looked like the chupacabra, man. His legs were twisted in, and his back, you could see his spine, and his teeth were, like that. And he struggled to walk. And I said, "Bring him," and we got him up on his feet. We took care of him. We just gave him a great life. And, he was only supposed to live 2 months. He lived up until he lived like 6 months. And when he passed maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, it affected me deeply because I had to put a diaper on him, on the dog, pissing all over the washing machine. And when he couldn't stand up on his own, you could hear his frustration that he didn't want to become a dog that couldn't like stand up or walk. And I would hear him. What's your problem? And he was just, he was mad at himself for not being able to stand up or to go outside or walk on his own. And that spoke to me because so many of us give up. And here's this dog that never gave up. I got one that's missing part of her jaw that they found in Tijuana on the side of the road, and now she's here with me. And that dog had some bad teeth. Latinos talking about Latinos with bad teeth. That fucking dog smelled up this whole side of the house. I said, something's got to happen with this dog. We either got to pull these teeth, or this motherfucker got to stay outside because this whole bacteria. Hey, Corey, if you sprayed Lysol, it stayed in a ball like when you see it. Just stayed in the. How do we get out of here? But we cleaned that dog up, and that dog, has a much better life here than it would have been in the side of the road in Tijuana.
Well, like I said, we love you, man, for the big heart and everything that you do for.
It's something that I never expected to have happen. Like it's something that I wouldn't have expected to do.
And people don't know that about you. A lot of people do not know that about you, bro.
Yeah, and to be to be very emotional about it. That morning that I had to give that dog to go take him to put him down was a very tough day for me, because just you get to say goodbye, and a lot of times my grandmother and grandfather, I didn't get to say goodbye to them. I wasn't with them, and I thought I would be, but I wasn't with them. So I think in the body of that dog, it was a lot of the issues that I had with not being with my grandfather or my grandmother.
Crazy. Wow.
Personal growth. It's like as you get older, tastes change.
Interesting how you what you just said and what resonated with me and how you associated the dogs. I had a business partnership that not too long ago, the quote that he bragged about in front of a lot of people as a former partner of mine was, "Who would perfectly throw away a good Mauricio?" And I thought it was a joke, but when I really looked at it, I was like, motherfucker, like, you know what? Everyone here sitting at the table is enjoying what we're having at the table because I worked my fucking ass off. I looked out for the team, and I worked and I thought about the team, and I all came together. So and we all ran in packs. But you always have that one person that wants to be a smartass and wants to say stupid shit like that. And now I'm happier than ever. I'm moving forward to all the beautiful things that are happening. And with that, it's for me, it gives me that fuel and the energy to continue to give back, forgive those that have tried to hurt me. And those that I've hurt myself because I'm not perfect. So, and I've done my rounds, and with that said, George, what message would you want to give out to the world? What is the ultimate message out of all the things that you've done in the world and all the successes and all the different things that you've experienced? What is George Lopez's message to not only the Latinos, but to the world? Let's just bring us all together as one. What would be your message?
I think it's so easy to be negative about somebody. It's so easy to diminish somebody. You saw that with your partner. It's so easy to hate somebody. It's so easy to wish somebody harm. And a lot of it is in our culture, but it poisons us from the inside. And I would say that, to hate anybody or to wish anyone ill is not good. To have compassion, to see another human being as your brother or your sister, and to not wish anybody any harm or anything bad, because we all have kids. We're parents and brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, and you wouldn't want anybody to wish any bad on any of your family members or your friends. But it comes so easy for us to be negative towards people that in order to turn everything around, you have to turn yourself around first. So I would say that, not to preach, but I don't wish anyone any harm, and I don't worry about what anybody else is doing. And when I put those two things together, maybe 22 years ago, everything changed for me personally and in my career.
Amen. And I agree. I think once we do a mindset shift with all of us, even with all of us that are in here right now, with the whole team that's behind, we start to see that reawakening. It's that bigger impact, that bigger purpose that we have in life. And that's why we're here today. That's why we're here sharing with the world, all of us as Latinos coming together. And we have such a dynamic and amazing, talented team that to have you here with us tonight, it's an amazing experience. Thank you. Thank you. Man. Yeah.
Brother, I know you got to go. I know he's got things to do, but we appreciate the hour that you spent with us, brother, and hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Absolutely. Whatever you guys want, whatever you need me, I'm here, man. I'm serious family now.
Really quick before you leave, Alex, if you're backstage right now and you can hear, I want to get everybody, if George, if you don't mind, can we get everybody, even George, our other guests, I want to get a picture because this is memorable here, and I'll bring everybody in really quick.
Thanks to all the people that are watching, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you to everyone that's watching. Alex, if you can take a picture of all of us. Also to George Lopez, I have Jorge Sanchez in here, who's a partner of mine with Chacho's Mexican Restaurant here in San Jose, and I know that when you're in town next time, whenever the world opens up, if it ever, we'll make sure that we'll get ready. So you got a picture, Alex? Are we good? All six of us here on the screen?
Put me in that mural, eh?
All right, yeah. We got you.
Actually, George, we have George Lopez on a mural at Chacho's. We added his face, right? He's on there as one of the greats. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to send you a picture of that. That's original artwork right there. So anyhow, we're good. So then I'm gonna take you guys back off, and we're gonna wrap it up with George really quick. I just wanted to get a picture here with. Hold on for a second here. George, thank you again very much. I wanted to do that. Thank you for allowing me to do that. It's everyone's been listening and watching backstage, and I just think that this was a great moment.
Yeah, man. Good luck to you guys in the future, and whenever you need me, just call me in.
Love you, bro.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. Awesome. Wow. In honor of, I want to play one of the funny, because we're going to go into the food segment right now, and I want to play this one clip. And again, thank you to George Lopez for joining us tonight. What an amazing interview. And here we go.
The police have a gun that shoots bags of beans. Bags to deter assailants. They might as well say Mexicans. They say assailants, but they're going to shoot beans at Latinos. Freeze! Ralph, they're shooting beans. Boil the water and put them in the pot. I'm gonna go get some more. Come on. Gracias. Shooting bags of beans at Mexicans. What are they gonna shoot at black people? Chicken wings? What is that? Freeze! Mother. Damn! What's a brother gotta do to get a bucket? Holla!
A Bay Area native, Jorge Sanchez is owner of Chacho's restaurant in San Jose. Chacho's is a South Bay hotspot in California's Silicon Valley. Established in 1994, this popular Mexican urban eatery is a favorite of locals and out-of-towners. Jorge has worked hard to create a terrific eating experience while standing out in the food crowd. He takes a hands-on approach, even traveling to Mexico several times a year to personally handpick spices and mole for his restaurant. Now, that's authentic. He also studied fashion design and used that expertise to create his restaurant's unique and memorable interiors. Let's drop some serious food knowledge with Jorge Sanchez.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Orale, orale.
Hey man, thank you for being patient backstage and it's hey we got to make things happen, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and George, you obviously you know Chuy. I don't know if you've ever met EFREN, but we're excited to have you here and represent the heritage and the legacy that you built here in San Jose in the Bay Area, man.
Well, thanks for having me on, and it's amazing to hear George Lopez and be, on after George Lopez. He's got a good-looking little hat that we share, and he's got a good name, just like myself. So here we are.
From Jorge to George. Now let's talk about you and your restaurant, Chacho's, man. I know that you got a signature drink there called the henchata that is notorious. A lot of people talk to it. A lot of people visit you just for that. We'll get into some other stuff, but talk to me about the creation of the henchata.
Well, I have to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Vanessa Guizar, who really was inspiration for that drink. She was living out in Phoenix, and we started chopping it up, and she shared some knowledge with me, and we came up with the henchata. And so, we're the first to come out with something like that. In fact, it was so good that I got some legal letters from some of our rivals. So I couldn't copyright the name, but it is what it is.
Right, but it's definitely one of them things that people seek you out for over there in San Jose. I know that I have friends that have driven from far and wide just to come get the henchata at Chacho's.
No, you're absolutely right. Was it about 3 weeks ago in this pandemic? We had a couple come out from LA, and they came out just for the henchata. They were in the area. They heard of us. They seen us, and they're like, we came out just for the henchata. It was pretty amazing during this pandemic. To a couple come out.
But I want you to tell the people what is the henchata, because we say henchata and we take it for granted and we assume that people know. But a lot of people that tune in right now don't know what a henchata is. What is a henchata?
Well, it's a Hennessy and horchata, which horchata is a Mexican rice water. And so you combine the both together. It has this really amazing cinnamon. It's almost like a liquid churro with alcohol. It's so you got the rice water, cognac, and the rest is history.
See what I'm talking about? But also, another thing that drives people to your venue is the Chicano experience. As I tell people a lot of times, like, his food is good. His food is good, but when you go there, it just embraces you in Chicano-isms throughout the restaurant. You go into the bathroom, you see the movie posters. You go look on the walls, you see people that look like you. You see people that you grew up idolizing, watching, from Vicente Fernandez to Rita Moreno to George Lopez. You see Cheech and Chong behind you. These are iconic figures and people that you see. Tell me about what started that movement.
Well, you know what? I think, like all of us, being Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, whatever you want to call yourselves, Latinx, we have a lot of rich history and culture that are surrounded in us. And Chacho's is a location, it's a place, it's a hub where we feed the heart and the soul and the mind. And we want people to come in and look on the walls and relate and see people of color, of history and culture, where they can come in and feel at home. That's what it's about. We grew up in the era where if you went to a Mexican restaurant, there was a burro or a sarape or a nopal or some indigenous person carrying a sack, and that's not what we are. There's so much more to us than that. I'm very lucky to have a family that educated me. I was in the community that supported me, and that's what we have Chacho's doing. We do poetry readings. We have live music. We do tons of stuff that help the community get involved.
Yeah, you help a lot of like independent artists as well. I know that you, for instance, that you could tell us who the artist that drew the Cheech and Chong behind you is. I know you support him a lot. He does a lot of your artwork. You got these guys that does these air fresheners, Fuchi Lara. They did their release there. I mean, you support a lot of young, up and coming, independent Latino artists that come there. But talk a little bit about that as well, bro.
Well, you're absolutely right. The painting behind me is a Francisco Franco original. He's made it, in my opinion, as a full brand artist. A Chicano out of the Valley, went to Berkeley, graduated at the New York Academy of Art, and then graduated in Europe at Oxford. So he's a smart Chicano. Doesn't look it when you see him, but once he starts talking, you'll figure that out. Ruben from Fuchila. Chacho's is a hub where Chicanos can be with Chicanos and uplift each other. A lot of times, we find ourselves struggling and looking for someone to help, and sometimes they're not there. But you can always come to Chacho's and we will help you. With whatever. If you need a burrito, we'll give you a burrito. If you need some help, we'll help you. Mauricio's a good friend of mine there. He knows exactly what we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll share my story. I met George in 1995. I had just moved up from Los Angeles, and it was a crazy experience moving up to the Bay Area. And when I moved to San Jose, because I got accepted to San Jose State, I didn't have a place to live, and I didn't have a place to live. I didn't have money. I didn't even have money in my pocket. And I remember when I came to George's restaurant, I didn't even have money for food, and George opened up his restaurant as like a home. And just by doing that, just showed me the authenticity, the love, and his giving to total stranger. I was introduced to him by a friend, but it really, it hit my heart because since then, not only did you open your doors to your home, you opened your heart and your love, and you gave. So George and I have been friends, and to this day have been friends and partners, and continue to believe each other and help lift each other. So George, thank you. I love you, brother. We're family, and I didn't mean to get emotional here, guys, but it's the truth.
Hey, food is love. Love is food.
Well, I didn't mean to go into that context.
No, it's all good. I want people to know that that's how real. But that's how real you are. That's how real you are, brother.
I want you to get into it when you came in and you had the blonde, spiky hair.
Fuck you. I wanted to share a story, and here you want to talk about my blonde hair. But I love you, George, man. You're a great human being, and I love the fact that you continue to give with never expecting anything in return and give back to the community. And that's fact. That's real.
Well, that's just Chicanos or Mexicanos. That's who we are. We help each other. We embrace each other. We know how to love, man. It's in our family. It's in our genes. And what better way to show love than food? Food is amor. You come in and there's a good meal. There's nothing better than arroz and frijoles, man. That's my number one go-to. I love beans and rice. My mom will say, "¿Qué quieres comer?" I want beans. I want rice. I'm the bean and rice guy. That's it. But love is food, and Chacho's is a place for love. It's a place for gathering. It's for organizing, and that's what we are, and that's what we'll continue to be.
Okay, two things right here. First thing is, what kind of advice could you tell somebody trying to survive in the restaurant business throughout this pandemic? What advice can you give them? Second of all is, how can somebody in your area order from you either to go or for pickup in this time where they need food in their life? And times are hard. Folks are trying to do this, do that, but they need to get some food on the go. Can they order through you? So I'll let you answer both of those.
Well, right now the climate for restaurants, brick and mortar restaurants, is difficult. Very difficult.
Right.
If you don't have a to-go or a delivery platform and you don't have a patio, the chances are you're not going to make it. And I'm telling you that because I just closed a restaurant for good. It lasted 6.5 months. Done. Took 3 years in the making, and it took 7 months to close. So that is a casualty. The one Chacho's downtown is hanging in there. It's difficult, but with support from the community and love from our neighbors, it will succeed. But in any darkness, there's a ray of light, and that ray of light is we are opening another location in Morgan Hill. So it's got a huge patio, big park, lots of parking. It's got lots of outdoor seating. And so that said, that's the key. Right now it's outdoor seating. So what you're seeing is a huge movement right now with food trucks. They're killing it. Food trucks are the place to go right now. Those are the ones that are killing it because they're mobile. They don't have to worry about seating people or anything like that. But right now, the brick and mortar places, they're hurting really bad. And for those of you that are hearing it, support your local neighborhood restaurants. They need your help. I had, at the beginning of this pandemic, I had 47 employees. Right now, I'm down to like 18.
So with that being said, it goes to our part two of that. Yeah. How can the community support you in the Silicon Valley area? Because I know you're located downtown San Jose. How can somebody place an order or maybe have something catered for their family through you? Is there a website? Is there a phone number? Is there an Instagram?
We have all the above. You can do the food delivery services, which is Grubhub and Uber Eats and DoorDash. You can go to chachosrestaurant.com. You can call Chacho's at 408-293-4321. You can do all those and order food. But, Chacho does the whole Silicon Valley. We just did an event up in Dublin. So we're in Dublin, and we did San Jose, and we did Morgan Hill. And we're not going anywhere. Even during this situation, you learn how to navigate through the situation. What doesn't kill you makes you better. You change, you adapt, and you move forward. And so what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And at the end of the day, once this is over, once this pandemic is over, once this election is over, we'll get through this and we will continue.
And I'm gonna say it's funny because he's not lying. He'll go anywhere because I was getting at the time when I had my Prius, I was at Toyota getting my car fixed on Van Ness in downtown San Francisco. And who do I see feeding the employee at Toyota? Chacho. My man Jorge himself. He was doing the tacos. He had the tortillas. He had the whole spread. And if you're out there, they do cater and they will come to you. And so, I know that there's not a lot of places that are open, but if you have a small group that's at your job, they're taking all the precautions. So definitely give them a call and make connect the dots, make it happen.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, George, it's always interesting, man. We always talk about innovative ways to continue to navigate through these waters. And that's really what it's come down to. It's a lot of the marketing, I'm going to ask you a question, man. As an entrepreneur, you've been doing as a restaurateur entrepreneur. What is your advice? I know you give some suggestions right now that Chewy asked, but what is your advice for someone that has a passion for food and wants to start a business? What would be your advice to them? Obviously, right now things are fucked up, but moving forward, what would be your words of advice?
I would tell you, do your research. Talk to somebody that has a restaurant or does catering, because there's a lot of stuff that's there that you don't know. That there's no book, there's no pamphlet that lets you know all the permits and the fees and the registrations and the hurdles you have to go through. There's a lot. There's something like 7 different taxes that I pay that I didn't know. There's just permits and fees that you got to deal with, and health codes and building codes and city and county and state and federal. There's a lot. There is a lot. There's a lot to do. But hey, look for us at Chacho's. You can Google us. You can look at us on Facebook, Instagram. Send me a message. My door is always open for questions. If you need some type of guidance, or you need me to be your padrino for your restaurant and show you the way, I can do it, But hey, Chicanos, Mexicanos need to help each other. We need to uplift each other, educate each other, and push us and elevate us to the top. We are the breadbasket of the world. We are the breadbasket of the United States. We are the ones that feed us. My cooks at Chacho's work in every single restaurant you could think of. They're in Mexican restaurants and Italian restaurants and Japanese and Cambodian and Vietnamese. They're everywhere. Mexicanos, Latinos feed everybody. And so, we're not just cooks and dishwashers. We're business owners, and we do construction and caterers and bartenders. We do everything. We're everywhere. So,
We're radio personalities like Chuy and Efren and us. I mean, we're all across the board. I mean, we're not just the stereotypes are the stereotypes, but they're not the realities of what hardworking Latinos do and dreamers, big people with big dreams and big goals and big ambitions.
Yeah, and if you're a dishwasher or a landscaper, so what? My grandfather's a landscaper. My tio's a landscaper. I landscaped. My dad would take to the apartments and landscape when I wasn't doing burritos. We do everything. Everybody got a worth. Everybody has value, and everybody's job, every position needs to be respected. Respect. Respeto es el seno de todo.
Words of wisdom there. Chuy, what's going on, man? You look very pensive over there. Are you hungry, bro, or what?
I am hungry. My dinner's waiting for me, but I do appreciate what's going on, and I look forward to going by Chacho's real soon to get me some pozole or pick up a nice burrito. So I'm excited.
We got some pozole for you, brother.
There you go. So, George, again, if people want to get a hold of you, they can go to chachosrestaurant.com. I know that the handle on Instagram is I Love Chachos. And then on Facebook, they can find you at Chacho's Restaurant. I know that the page has over 10,000 likes and followers, and you seem to have a very great social media presence. Is there any other way that I'm missing that they can get a hold of you? And I know that they can order food through Grubhub. Come down in person.
Hang out.
That's right. Come out there. Well, after the show, I'll be out there tonight. I'll have a cocktail with our boy Albert Campoy in the house, and you and definitely go out there and have a cocktail with you guys. So, great, man. Well, George, I want to say thank you for coming out. Efren and Chuy, do we have any other questions? Any more foodies?
No, man. I love it,
George. Thank you very much for joining us. The home of the world famous henchata, and it's definitely the place to be if you're in the Silicon Valley. Make sure to visit in downtown San Jose. George, thank you very much for being here on the show tonight and being a part of history tonight. So thank you very much.
La próxima.
Ciao. All right.
Yeah, man. I advise everybody to go check it out. I mean, the art on the wall is worth the trip alone. I mean, and then the food and the drinks are definitely a bonus. But if you go in there, you'll be in there for hours looking at everything that's on the walls. It's beautiful. They even have a Chuy Gomez piñata. Woo, woo, woo.
Do they really? I haven't. Where, man?
There's two of them. There's a little mini one on the shelf.
Oh, that's right.
There's one hanging. So yeah.
That's right. All right. Good. Well, guys, we've had an amazing day today. It was exciting to go through what we went through and the knowledge that we got kicked down by George Lopez. We set the standard high now, so it only has to equal or be greater than it can ever be less than. So we have a hard work ahead of us, and for episode number 3, I think we're an amazing team. I want to thank Alex Mejia backstage that's done an incredible job putting this thing together. Giving us all the great little buttons that we get to play with, and and Efren too, man. You're amazing. All the content you're pulling together for us.
Thank you.
I love that.
I love you guys.
A man of not so many words. I love it, Efren. So, and Chuy, hey, you ran the show today, man. Thank you. It's just a great team here, man. We got a great thing coming, and to our next show every Monday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East, 8 in the Central, and we'll see what we pull up for next week. Right now, we know we put out the words for Black Eyed Peas. We put out the word for J Balvin. We're working with Bobby D, the promoter, to see what other acts we can have put on. We're working on Banda MS with Snoop Dogg as well in their collaboration. So we definitely have casted the net wide and far, and now we got to start reeling it in and see who becomes available for us. So it's not stopping here. We're only growing. So I'm excited.
Are we going to do the mix, or are we going to say that for another day?
Well, I guess we're gonna have to save it for another day. I'll continue with Alex backstage.
Okay.
But if things go well, we're gonna jump back on with DJ Bump and Beto, and we're gonna do a mix. But right now, we just want to wrap up the show. We've gone longer than we anticipated, and it is what it is, man. We have no rules and nothing that holds us back on our show. So we want to thank everyone that joined us, all the comments. I love going back through all the comments and reading them and replying back. And tonight it seems it's going to be a long night because we got a lot of comments and we had a lot of viewers. So I just want to thank everyone that commented, and continue to comment, put where you're from, and we'll make sure to acknowledge. So thank you very much. Chuy, Efren, Alex, here we go.